Okay, here we are at the top of the property. We have a golden retriever and a huge bed of about 300 heads of garlic. Then this bed is yet to be planted, and it will have mostly onions and shallots in it. And then we have Buddy's excavation, and this bed is, there's some Walla Walla onions along the edge of the straw, and then there'll be peas are planted, and they'll come up on that trellis. And we got some rhubarb and a couple beds, layers of strawberries, and there's a couple more big rhubarbs in there. And then this is, oh, got bees, oh, bumblebees on the rosemary. And this is all my herb garden. So there's oregano, curry, sage, thyme, rosemary, marjoram, lots of chives, parsley, and there'll be a few other things going in there. And then, oh, I'll show you the shed. We built in one half of it, and then there's Buddy. That's the other half, and I love the shakes on the side of it. And then these are a bunch of seedling palm trees that I'm growing to supplement my retirement. And that's all a big strawberry bed. And then I've got all my sedums coming along this walkway. And then there's some more sedums over here. I love the sedums. Hens and chicks, all sorts of different things. And then I got some pots in there, and some other sedums. And then down here, we got a little cascading veronica. There's some garlic I did from seed back there. And then some bulbs coming up. More sedums. And then that's my bench, my potting bench. It's under cover at the moment. Oh, poppies. And my amazing composter. I got 2 big cans of compost right now ready to go on the beds. And then over here we've got, this bed's got Egyptian walking onions that I'm going to move out of here. And there's some more Walla Wallas there. We eat a lot of onions. And then this will be my kitchen bed. I just made this, and it will be lettuce and beets and Swiss chard and probably a few herbs going in there, some cilantro and spinach, carrots, that sort of thing. But it's a tiny bit cool yet for most of those things to go in. And then over here we got some daffodils, and this bed is daffodils, and there's lots of lilies in here too. And coming along the front, we got all sorts of perennials coming up here, and the same over here. This is lots of phlox and tulips. I've got all sorts of bulbs coming up too. Some of them I don't even know what they are. They came from a friend's yard, and I just put them in the fall. So that's always fun, having a surprise. And then I love my little pot with the Johnny jump ups and the dwarf daffodils. And this bed is the tropical looking bed. And this is a jasmine that I gotta stake up here a little bit better. But that flowers all summer long and it smells so good. And then, oops, we had a big wind last night that blew down. This is some rhododendrons and some grasses. And that's kind of a shade bed. There's lots of hostas that come up in there. And then the rhodies and ferns. There's a lot of other deciduous ferns. And that's a big fuchsia that looks really pretty in the summer. And this is a great rhododendron. It's really bright red color. And then there's lots of big lilies that come up in this bed. And my Daphne, that is, I wish you could smell it. It's super fragrant. And it mostly flowers like 12 months out of the year. So, okay, we're headed down to the next level. And we got, what do we got here? Oh, some campanulas, canterburies that are cascade down over the rock wall. The rock rose, or cistus is called, the shrub at the back there, it gets lots of really pretty flowers. And this is agapanthus coming up in the straw, and I love it. It's such a pretty plant. And then the topiary in a pot. I'm not sure what flowers we'll get in there this year. And then we got these gorgeous little primulas coming, and phlox that will cascade over the wall. And I have sedums and that veronica also. So this wall, oh, and there's some more campanulas and ivy, and I'll remember that name, but not at the moment. It's pretty, gets a blue flower. And then there's lots of columbine in here, and this is a big, you probably can't even tell how big this tree is, but it's huge. And we have like 3 of them on the property. Oh, here, Buddy, you can see Buddy compared to the tree. It's quite large. Thank you. Okay. And this is another little bed I just made. I can't throw anything out, so when I divide a plant, it turns into a new garden bed. And then there's some stuff that's going to start hanging down over this wall. And this pot has been flowering since November. The Christmas rose. And this white stuff that's just going crazy. And then this sorrel came from my mom, who stole it from Bouchard Gardens about 40 years ago. And everywhere I've moved, I've brought a bunch of it with me. And I have a couple of other big clumps of it. Then I have a creeping or a vining hydrangea and some daylilies that I got from a friend. And these guys are all starting to climb down the wall. And then this bed, was a palm tree that came from an old job site. And this bed is chock-a-block full of lilies and peonies and unknown types of other lilies that I have no idea what they are. They just came from somebody's house. And these trellises, I put sweet peas on. They've been planted. They should be coming up soon. And there's quite a few hardy fuchsias in there. And then this flowering tree is an Asian pear that I had to prune severely before the yard was fenced in. There was a bear that sat in it and broke most of the tree out, but I think it will probably fruit this year. Lots of flowers on it. And then here's another bed with peonies and phlox and heather and bulbs and all sorts of stuff. And there's a juga. And this is the most amazing plant. I have no idea what it is. It was one of the few plants that was in the yard when we bought the house. And I keep saying, oh, I gotta look it up, but it's got a fabulous pink flower, holds its leaves all winter, and it's really fragrant. And then this is the lawn I've been working on getting rid of. There's a Honeycrisp apple here. There's a dozen blueberries in this bed. And that's a fig tree that hopefully I'll get some figs out of this year. I've been pruning it so it hasn't produced fruit because I've been working on more of its structure. And then that lump of soil there, that'll be tomatoes and squash going in here. The cardboard is to kill off the grass, and I'll put more mulch on top of it. And then this used to be down here a swamp. It was a disgusting swamp. And so I had a machine come in and dug out a big trench, and he placed the big rocks, and then I moved all the little rocks in and planted all along here. And in the winter, when it is really, really wet, the water runs right through here and under that driveway. So it works totally. This whole area is now plantable, and I can have a garden down here. It used to be just an absolute eyesore. There's the boat parked at the bottom of the property. And then I've got over here, we got some phormiums that I love, the New Zealand flax, and this staircase that I love. It's all planted with sedums and is so pretty. And then there's this bed that has tons of perennials and all sorts of stuff coming up. And this tree or shrub, it's called a ribes, and it's been full of bumblebees too. I hear them, I don't see, oh, there's somebody flying around. And then I have another couple of clumps of the wood sorrel, the oxalis, thank you, Mom. And this is kind of a new bed that I'm starting to pick away at. There's crocosmia and lots of hydrangeas, and I'm trying to keep it kind of natural, so anytime I find ferns I stick them in there. And then there's a bunch of columbines stuck in here and there. And then this is kind of a utility area. That's my cardboard stock for putting down to create new beds, and that's kind of a composty area where I just unload and leave stuff. So that's my yard. That's what I do all day, most days. Putter around in here. It's an amazing place. Oh, here, I'll show you the house. Here's the house up there. And then these are our massive trees. They're huge. And we got a bunch more trees over on this side. And then we have a couple neighbors, but we don't really ever see them. They're kind of tucked away. So that's me.